My wife bought that shirt for me for Christmas. As she watched the first ever video that I posted to the channel, she counted out the numerous times that I said or similar filler words. Use the link in the upper right-hand corner to check out that first video, and then let me know in the comments if I've gotten any better since that first video. I got a great deal buying this planer used, but the first time I tried to use it, it wasn't working very well. Luckily, the guy I bought it from included some replacement blades in the deal. After replacing the blades, I think it works pretty well. The planer puts out way too many shavings, though, for my shop vac dust collector to be effective. Luckily, the same guy also sold me a dust collector. Unfortunately, he had already sold the 4-inch hoses that it needs. If anyone knows of any great deals on flexible 4-inch hoses, please share in the comments. I don't remember for sure, but I think I salvaged this board from a shipping container. After planing the board, I was squaring off one end of it when the dust collection hose popped off. I must not have had enough slack between the cyclone separator and the miter saw, so then I had to stretch down to reach it so I could get it hooked back up. I fumbled through using the combination square to mark up the first segment to cut. The combo square is a little new to me, and I'm still getting used to it. After cutting the first segment to length, I used that first segment to mark the subsequent segments. I'm thinking through building a new miter saw station that can incorporate stops for consistent, repeatable cuts. Be sure to subscribe to see what form that new miter saw station takes. I got a fair amount of practice with the new combination square while marking up where I wanted to make my interior cuts. I feel like I made a bit of a mistake on the orientation of the grain relative to the interior cuts. The interior rectangles should have gone the other direction so that the grain flows better on the finished piece. I clamped each piece down with a backing board underneath to prevent blowout, and then I used a Forstner bit in my handheld drill. But I probably either should have done this on the drill press or at least drilled the holes a little further away from the edge of the cut line. Once I had the holes drilled, I finished cutting out the interior rectangles with the jigsaw. I wish I had some kind of dust collection for the jigsaw though, since it just spews the sawdust everywhere. There is something strangely satisfying about that inner piece just dropping down after finishing the cut. I initially attempted to just sand the edges, but that wasn't going great. And so I made a template out of HDF for the router table, and then used my white side flush trim router bit to clean it up. I realized after the fact that it would have been better to place my HDF template with the other side facing up. The bit wasn't quite tall enough to clean up the entire edge in one pass, so off camera I lowered the bit and did a second pass. Sanding is so much fun. I used this bit from Infinity Tools for profiling the edges. It gives kind of a double roundover effect, if that makes any sense. I'll leave a link in the video description if you want to check out that bit. I think I used this same bit to profile the edges of the frame I made for my wife's sister, at my wife's request. I custom made the frame to fit a butterfly of sorts. You can check out that project using the link displayed in that upper right-hand corner again. After the interior profile was done, I moved on to the exterior edge. You may notice that I'm rotating the workpiece counterclockwise, which is opposite of the direction I rotated when cutting the interior profile. I've heard a few different clever ways to remember which direction you're supposed to go on a router table for interior versus exterior profiles, but I never remember them. The way I always remember is that I go right to left on the fence if it's on the exterior, and opposite that if it's on the interior. The reason my wife requested I make these is because she wanted frames that could stand upright on their own. She also wanted them to be able to hold 4x6 photos. So those are the dimensions of the interior rectangle, 4 inches by 6 inches. She wants to decorate them, so thankfully, I don't have to do any finish on them.